is that God's commandments are clear. Have you ever heard someone say this? Like, the Bible is like really confusing. I love it when somebody says that. I just smile and say, you know what? The Bible's not confused. We're confused. That's the problem. We're confused. And the purpose of the Bible is to bring clarity to our confusion. What does God want? What is right and wrong? What is just and unjust? What is holy and unholy? How do we function? What is the right functioning of family, government, finance? All these kind of things. The Bible addresses so many different things. But listen to this. Deuteronomy chapter 4, he didn't want that generation to be deceived. So in Deuteronomy 4, it says, "Now, O Israel, listen to the statutes and the judgments which I'm teaching you to perform." Notice there, this is not just information. The Bible doesn't contain just random information that you and I, how many of you know random foolish things that make no difference? I mean, isn't it kind of funny, some of those games that we play, like trivia games? And it's like, I look at some of my friends and like, how do you know that? We were playing one of those trivia games at Christmas time. We went over, saw some folks, and they had a little party there and stuff, and so they're going to play this trivia game. I hate trivia games. Don't invite me over for a trivia game. Please, please don't do that to me. And so we're sitting there, and they're asking like these questions that make no difference as to anything in the world. And everyone's like so excited, and their answer. Anyway, you get my point. But this is not random information that's insignificant. No, we're going to teach these things. We're going to perform these things. That's exactly what Jesus said. Go teach them all things I've commanded you, that they may observe them, that they may do them. Notice it goes on, so that you may live long and take possession of the land. Again, I want you to notice how the land is mentioned here. Them being in the land under the Mosaic covenant, it's a conditional covenant. They have to go in. They have to obey if they're going to stay there. The blessing or the curse will be there depending on their obedience. Friends, and that's true for you and I in so many practical ways, that if we obey God, there's blessing. If we don't obey God, there's consequences. And God is much clearer than you and I want to admit. And then he says this, "You shall not add to it, add one word to the commandments, nor shall you take away from it." Listen, God doesn't need us to add things to the Bible. I remember I was meeting with a group of pastors one time. I was in my early 20s. And they were talking about this one pastor there said, you know what, we should just all get together and we should have like this service together. And I'm like, you and I are not even on the same page about God. You don't believe that God is holy and infinite. I don't remember exactly all the things I said, but one of the things I ultimately said to him was you and I don't even understand right and wrong the same way. I mean, he believed that biblical morality is mythology. And he was very vocal in the community about that. And I remember him leaning over the table because he was upset at me. You know, people lean over the table, their eyes bulge, that one of those kind of situations. And he leans over, and I was in my mid-20s at the time, and he leans over and says, "Listen here, young man, you don't have to take the Bible so serious." See, there's two great dangers. There's the danger of adding to it. That's what the Pharisees did. That's what when Jesus has conflict with them, they're constantly saying, not have you read, i.e. the scriptures. What they're constantly saying is, how come your disciples are not following the traditions of the elders? You see, they took the traditions of the rabbis and added it to the Bible. You don't need anything else added to the Bible. The gentleman leaning over the table, he wasn't adding to it. He was trying to remove stuff. And bottom line is he just said like, hey, look, take these verses out here and just like, just go ahead and tear those out. I mean, we determine. No, we don't determine. There's a God in heaven who created the heavens and the earth who's totally holy and just. We've seen that. And so the scriptures are clear. He's going to talk about the 10 Commandments in chapter 5. He's going to talk about justice. He's going to talk about a whole series of things so that they would know how to walk with God in honor. He's going to talk about the moral law, the civil laws. He's going to talk about ceremonial laws, and all of these things were clear. Friends, God's much clearer than we want to admit. If you haven't read the epistles enough to own them, I'm telling you, you and I are missing the clarity that we need to honor God. The epistles are specifically written to us, just like Deuteronomy was specifically written and given to Israel. Number 3.